This is the inside of the Swift Challenger High Style 530. If I firstly move to the main control panel, we can turn the 12 volt on just here. Once we've done this, we can turn the water pump on and off just here. The water pump needs to be on to be able to get water out of the taps and fill the boiler if it's been drained. This little light that's on at the moment is just indicating that we are connected to main supply. If I press the view levels, it will give us a condition of the leisure battery. If we were hitched up to a tow vehicle, it would also give us an indication of the vehicle battery. Here we have the control panel for the Aldi heating and hot water system. To turn the control panel on, just press here. On initial startup, it will let you know if you're connected to main supply, and it will give you an internal temperature of the caravan. This little circle here just represents the circulation pump for the heating system. It will appear whenever the pump is running. If I now press menu, it will bring up its basic functions. So the top one here is for the heating, literally plus and minus, pick whatever temperature you would like it to be inside the caravan. It will drop all the way down to 5 degrees for frost protection and go all the way up to 30 degrees. Beneath that, we then have the controls for the hot water. So currently hot water off, hot water on boost. The boost facility is extremely handy if more than one of you are going to have showers in quick succession of each other, or if you just want hot water really quickly. If you do perform the hot water boost and the heating is running, it will turn the heating off as it needs to use the extra power. So even though I've now set the temperature at 20.5 degrees and I've turned the hot water on, nothing is actually happening at the moment because we haven't selected a power source. So beneath that, we have a little picture of a lightning strike. So if I want to run the system on main supply, I come to this one here. I can run the system on 1 kilowatts, 2 kilowatts, or 3 kilowatts. So just dependent on the ampage of the site that you're on to avoid tripping. If we don't have main supply, we can run on gas by highlighting the little flame. And if we have both power sources available to us, we can also run in dual fuel if we wish. This is extremely handy, especially in the winter months if you want to get up to temperature nice and quickly. It will only use the gas as it is required. If I now press the little picture of the spanner, it will bring us into our settings menu. So firstly, we have time of day set, day of week set, etc. just in here. This is needed if you are going to use timers. We then have the night timer just here. Timer on and off. Set the temperature you would like it to be for that period. Set when you want night mode to begin, and if it's for all days of the week or just individual, and then when you would like night mode to end. You can also highlight this one here, which would invert the backlight, so this screen here goes to black, the writing goes to white. And we can also say, look, for that period we do not want hot water. This is extremely handy if you are just using your gas supply. That way you're not wasting gas heating hot water whilst you're asleep. Next we have the day mode, and exactly the same again, but just for the daytime. This one here is one delayed start and stop to the system. So instead of having multiple timers, you can just have it so the system fires up on a Monday at 9 in the morning and continues to run until, say, Friday until 12 in the afternoon. Prioritize is what the system prioritizes in using when in that dual fuel mode. So at the moment it favors main supply over gas. If you are on an extremely low amp site, you could flip it on its head so it actually consumes more gas and less electric. Temperature offset just for the internal thermostat. If you don't think it's quite correct, you can just slightly adjust it. Backlight settings, so brightness, etc. Antimicrobial. If I turn this on, I do also have to have night mode active, and then what would happen is at about 2-3 o'clock in the morning, the boiler will come on and rapidly heat itself up to kill off any bacteria that might be in the system. Pump settings, just leave them set to thermal. Key beeps on and off. Language, external start, which we do not have on this particular model of caravan. You do have to have an extra box fitted to be able to control this via an app. These ones are also not used on this model. I can highlight this one, which I will show you in a moment. Service, more for the workshop, but it will just let you know what everything is up to. Full factory reset, so if there's a problem with the control panel, you can reset it. And installed accessories, so the only one that's of any use is this one here. And if we now go back up again, you'll see we now have what's known as a load monitor. So if we are on a 10 amp site, we can select 10 amps, and it then doesn't matter that I leave this on 3 kilowatts, it will basically only draw the power that it can for a 10 amp site. Because it's now an activated function, it appears here, and then I can go back in, alter it, or turn it back off again. If we now move back to the front of the caravan and we remove the cushions just here, here we have the location of the consumer unit. So we have the mains trip switches just here, so we have the 3 individual MCBs, the main RCD and test button just here. Beside it, we have the 12 volt fuses. Again, they're numbered up exactly the same as the MCBs, etc. are, and you can find what they are all for on the little sticker here. Along the top here, we have isolator switches for components that use main supply. So we have this amber one here for the heating and the hot water system. If I turn that one off, it will just error code on the Aldi control panel if we were trying to run it on main supply. So really this can be left alone, it is more for maintenance. The green one just here is for the battery charger just here. So again, if I now turn that off, we would then not be able to charge the leisure battery from the main supply. This one here will illuminate if we have reverse polarity connected to the caravan. You can sometimes find this on continental sites. We have full system shutdown just here, so if you're not going to use the caravan for long periods of time, you can press this button just here and it will kill any residual draw on the leisure battery. Water pump just here, and the surge dampener for it just sits beside it. The Aldi boiler just sits here, and to drain it down for winterization and travel, the bung is just here with this yellow lever. So at the moment it's flapped over in the closed position. To drain the boiler down, make sure the water pump is turned off and then just flap this up like so. As you can hear, I've left the water pump on, so it's now fighting to refill the boiler. So if I flap it back over again, in a second, once the boiler has refilled itself, it will then turn itself back off again. So this is how we refill it. Tucked at the back here is the control board for the Power Touch motor mover. And then we have the back of the battery box just there. underneath the other side's bench we have storage, and you will also find the box for the alarm. Again, we don't really need to do anything with this. It does have an auxiliary battery in there as well. The PIR for the alarm is just here, so it will flash green every now and then to let you know it's working. If the alarm's auxiliary battery does get too low, it will change to a red flashing light to indicate that you need to be plugging yourself into the main supply to recharge everything back up again. If you ignore it, after a while you will get still the red flashing light, but the alarm will beep every now and then to remind you. The radio is just located here. You will also find that there's USB charge point just there. To turn the unit on, just press the source button and it will go through the auxiliary, AM, FM, and it would go through CD if we had a CD put in just here. To change tracks or radio stations, just press here. Volume control just here. Graphic equalizer just here. Power points just here, so 2 mains, one 12 volt, and then TV aerial plug-in. So this one here will go to the aerial that is on the roof of the caravan, and then the one above it would go to the external one beside the mains hookup. Fridge just here. So to turn on, just press the button. At the moment we're running on main supply with a picture of the 2-pin plug just there. If we want to run the fridge on gas, just press and highlight the flame. This will automatically light itself. And then lastly we have a little picture of a battery which is 12 volt maintain for when we're towing it. If I press this at the moment, it will beep at us and we'll get a little red flashing triangle just here. Reason being is that we're not attached to a tow vehicle at the moment with the engine running. You will also get this indication if you're trying to light it on gas and you do not have your gas bottle turned on or it's depleted, etc. If you think it's not lighting just down to the fact that there may be a bit of air in the system, you can press this button here and it will then try to light itself again. Temperature control just here, and then just push down just here, and then we have the fridge and the freezer compartment just here, which can be removed. There are just 2 clips that sit underneath. Storage with a pull-out rack. You will also find some gas isolation taps in here. They are all in the on position and can quite frankly stay like that. I always say if you smell gas in the caravan, go to the source and turn the gas bottle off. Each one is colour coded and corresponds on the sticker. We then have the microwave just here. Will work when hooked up to main supply. Normal sort of stuff. We have quick start just here, stop, power settings, etc. The microwave is just plugged in the cupboard beside it. In the cupboard on the other side you will find the solar panel regulator. So we don't need to do anything with this, it will just smart charge the leisure battery as it's required. Hob. So we have one electric hot plate that will work when hooked up to main supply, which operates just here. Everything else just push in, twist, and then press the igniter. Beneath it we then have the grill. And then the oven. Storage beneath. And you will find a plug plugged in, which is for the electric hot plate. We have the dinette here, which will make up into bunk beds. So if I firstly remove the table, which just unhooks off, as you can see, and then we fold the leg just by pushing the button in just there. So as you can now see, I've removed the table and all of the cushions. Each set of cushions make up the lower bed and the bunk. So if we're going to make the bunk, we need to pull this section up and over, so we end up with it looking like this. Then underneath you will find poppers that you just need to undo, and then what we're then doing is then lifting up, dropping over, and then connecting onto the caravan wall itself. So then we're left with this. Next we want to put the bed guards in. So as you can see, they're now slotted in. So they literally just slot into the metal slots, and then you just make sure that this bit here is located into that part. Once we've done this, we then just grab our cushions and then pop them into place. So we have that one like that, and we then grab the larger one, and you end up with the top bunk looking like that, and then we just pop the ladder on just here. For the lower, we need the table with the leg folded, and then this just slots on this section just here. If I then get the cushions, which will then give you something like this. If you weren't having the top bunk, this would suffice, because these would actually be further out, because this would all be folded down onto the back wall. At the moment you can see you have a gap, so you are supplied with this snake-like infill, which then drops in to this point here. Above my head we then have the Omnivent fan. To use this, wind the roof vent up just here, and we then have power on and off in the centre, arrows out for extraction, arrows in for cooling, variable fan speed just by pressing. Do make sure that all roof vents are down for travel. If we now go into the washroom, we have the basin just here and the shower cubicle. Do make sure that the shower screen is fully secure for travel. Freestanding table just here, and then we have the toilet just here. To open to the cassette, just slide across here, push to flush on the blue button, level indicator just here so it will illuminate when the cassette needs emptying, and then close back up again. If this has been left open and you try to remove the cassette from the outside, it will not come out, so do make sure that nobody's left it open. If we now open the wardrobe, you'll find in the back here the header tank for the Aldi heating system. You need to make sure that the fluid level is between the minimum and the maximum. Always take your reading once the heating system is up to temperature, as it will expand. If it does need topping up, you can do this yourself if you wish. You just need to remove the cap and add the Aldi top-up solution. Do make sure that it is the Aldi branded one. We then have the digital amplifier for the television aerial on the roof just there, on and off on the top. Control the boost just here. The aerial itself is just here. To raise the mast, undo the collar and then push up. This green window here represents the back of the aerial, so you know which way it's pointing. Once you've got it into the position that you require, just lock it into place. Never over tighten these collars because you can split them. H stands for horizontal, so the aerial is sitting like this at the moment. We can flip it on its side to the vertical position for additional tuning if required, and we do that just by turning the tail here. Do make sure that the aerial is down for travel.